pray this morning. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful, Lord, to just be able to call you our Lord this day. There's so much going on, Father. The conflict over in Iran, all of the disparity between different countries, and the prices of oil. And Lord, we just ask that peace be still, and let there be the conflicts gone. And Lord, we pray this morning for all those that are sick, and those that may be in the hospital, and those that may be going on to meet their reward. We just pray for the families this day. Lord, bless the commissioners that you bestowed upon these positions to do the betterment of this great county. And we ask that all deliberations be in the center of your magnificent will. We give you honor, praise, and glory this morning. And everyone said,
Amen.
Please pledge. I
pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody this morning. We'll go ahead and get started with the first item, adopting agenda. Any additions or deletions?
Mr. Earl, the Upward Communities with Mr. Jason Roberts, he's rescheduled to a later date.
Which one's that?
The last one under agenda items.
Just quickly an update where y'all sent me to the Palm Beach City meeting last night. I'll give you a quick update.
Under Commissioner Island, I have a Spring Valley Temple Road Bridge. We have the CBI, we're working on it right now, putting it together. I'll have it for the next week. Any more additions or deletions? So here, motion to adopt the agenda. So your second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? How's the vote?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yeah. Our next item, adopt previous minutes for the regular session, March the 2nd, 2026. Your motion to adopt. Yes.
So moved.
I have a motion to your second.
Yeah.
He said, no.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? How's the vote?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yes. All right, non-agenda audience. Mr. Richard Wilson.
Good morning, Commissioner. Thank you for allowing me some time. I didn't know for sure that Mr. Corbin was going to speak about our 79 corridor issue in the city in the meeting yesterday. Hasn't been present. I was just going to make sure, I guess I'll take it to glory, but there's one of the council members started floating an idea that in order to take over the Highway 79 corridor, they're floating the idea of wanting payment from the county for so many years of $20,000, which I thought was kind of preposterous. But I don't know where it's going to go from there. They didn't vote on anything last night, but it sounds to me like they're wanting to hold this hostage for negotiations, the way it appeared to me. But I just wanted to inform you all what happened last night at the city council meeting on that issue, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. We're going down to the agenda items. The first is Core Parish Landing Agreement, David?
Yeah, we have that, and James got it over there, it's 86 Washington.
$86,005 with no match required from the county.
And we just need the permission for the chair, or we need some chair to sign.
Just for the record, Mr. Gordon, can you give us an update what's being looked at?
That's the design process, the first phase of it. Mr. Stafford, was there with the engineer, and this is the, greatly needed at that landing, it's on really, improve that site, but now that's just the design phase that we're getting by. Recommendation for y'all.
We got the money to do that.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna ask. Is this a reimbursable grant and who's gonna be the grant manager?
John,
Yes.
yes.
It's a cost reimbursement basis.
All right, motion to approve, you're a second. Have a motion and a second, any discussion? How's the vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, I'll volunteer fire department, Mr. Pitts.
I appreciate the county commissioners for allowing me to come up and speak. Yes, it's come up to speak to y'all. I come to y'all trying to, I normally don't like to do this, try not to do this, but I ain't got no choice now. So, I try to use the money that's given to me or given to the department to the best of our abilities. So we cut and scrounged around the last couple of years, needing to do things at the firehouse. Walls, bathrooms, the back room back here that had the termite damage, it was falling apart. It was, you ain't never seen it, it was bad. We completely just kind of set it off the side and told nobody to go in it, because it was, so anyway, long story short, we took some money out of our accounts, and, had a donation from Lowe's, $900. Material, Ricky Howell, Andrew Howell, they come in and helped us do some building, donated some time, charged us for some time, but I get it, I understand, there's a lot of work back there. And if you got, I invite y'all to come to the firehouse and look at that room. It's really, it's nice. The sheriff actually come by and looked at it here a while back, and it looks nothing like it used to. Somebody needs to go by and, we had to house the EMS unit per se. They got a nice place to stay right back there. They can come there and have a good spot to sit back and relax. In doing so, and in doing that, we've had, some expense. We got $10,000 from the county. So, and I'll run it briefly through to you. For our call volume historically has been about 100 calls, 120 calls. Well, last year we were at 213 calls. This year we're at 61 calls right now, and just making it in the third month. So it is stupid busy. I mean, I think we're outperforming just about all the fire departments with the exception of Bonifay, and I think Esco's a little ahead of us, but we're running a crazy amount of calls. It's insane. We've never done this before. So our fuel costs, with the 10,000, our fuel costs $2,400 as of, well, it's gonna be a little higher because I don't have March in this, so it's gonna be a little bit higher than the 2,400. Our training supplies for the department through there was $1,200. Their utilities are $600. An unexpected expense for us is when I started trying to do grants, you have to have FEIN numbers and all that stuff in order to do your grants. Somewhere along the way, we lost our FEIN number. We do not have it. I went back trying to research it, see what was going on. They said they went all the way back to 95 and says, you don't have it, that FEIN number that y'all are using don't belong to Pine Log. I took over in 18, have no idea how that happened. So we lost our 501c3. I'm in the process through, tax professionals in Geneva. I paid them $1,500 to get us started again. Instead of being Pine Log Community Volunteer Fire and Rescue, we're now gonna be Pine Log Volunteer Fire and Rescue, so that's underway. So that was $1,500 that we wasn't expecting to spend. But we have to have it in order for grants. You gotta have the FEA and all that good stuff, so. The government fees to Sunbiz, that was $1,736. Building expenses, this is that room. That's, $3,000 that we spent on that room. I mean, it's nice. Truck maintenance, about $1,200. Totaling up to about $10,261. I have outstanding debts for Ricky for about $2,100 and $21.35 that I need to pay Ricky back. Ricky says I am not in a hurry for it. I get it. I mean, but I want to pay him back because he done a bunch for us. Our attack truck has been down for almost 2 months. That's our primary truck, crash truck, brush truck. Walton County has been super generous. And, you know, they donated a pumper to us last year. And that's a fine truck. Well, now they pretty much give us a brush truck to use to get us by until we can get this one fixed. It's sitting over at Callahan, Chris Callahan, where it's been for about 2 months, and we had an issue, the EGR cooler ruptured or something, so they said we're gonna delete it. So went through the process, it's gonna be $4,795 to delete it. I went through the state, applied for a grant through the BFA grant. They reimbursed us 50%, we was approved, so they're gonna pay us 50% of it back. So $23.97 will be coming back. So when I went to get to Chris to find out, hey, where we at? He said, man, you got bigger problems than that. So apparently we got a cracked head gasket, a cracked head or something. I don't know. I've been reaching out to Chris trying to find out what the cost is gonna be. I can't get a cost. I mean, it's aggravating, but that's a totally different story. So at this point in time, I was coming to ask for money to cover it all. I don't know what the cost is gonna be for the truck. I'm gonna go back to the state. Once he gives me that cost, I'm gonna go back to the state and redo my grant and see if I can get half of that taken care of. Casey with forestry, he said, man, we'll help you fix your truck, just give us information. So I'm gonna have to pull that back, resubmit it once I get the information from Chris and try to get half of that taken care of. So I'm coming to you now because we have $2,335 left in our account to try to get through the rest of the year. That ain't gonna happen, not with the cost of fuel and our expenses that we're doing. So I'm asking for an additional $8,000. That $8,000 is gonna allow me to pay Ricky Howell, get him paid off. And this will also allow me to pay off the $47.95. Well, actually, I don't need to do that because I'm gonna try to redo all that once I do the grant. So strike that right there. But yeah, I'm requesting $8,000 for additional money for operating expenses and pay off some stuff that we owe people. So that's why I'm bringing it to you. I mean, we've done all we can do and we're scraping the bottom now. And like I said, we've run a bunch of calls and I got a bunch of guys that's willing to do the work and help out. And I don't want to discourage them by not having the money for them to operate off of. So I'm coming to the board for some help.
Which means, what's the chances of welcoming surplus in that truck to us?
I'm trying. I'm going through Chief Pugh and, he hadn't come up and said yes, but he said the truck is there for as long as you need it, but it's still in their name. It's got their logos on it, but they have not given it to us. And, they've given us one truck. We're working on the tanker. I'm trying to get a tanker through them. There's a possibility, so I'm trying not to, messing up too bad, begging stuff for him. I mean, he's been really generous for us for the pumper. I'm working on the tanker, but like I said, he's letting us use the brush truck, so he said as long as it's ours, as long as we need it. And he's kind of left it with that, and I haven't explored those options much as far as the brush truck goes. It's an older truck, so. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. more questions?
For sure. So the truck that's in the shop is the one, the loaner from Walton County, is that?
No, the truck that's in the shop is our tax.
That's, okay,
Yeah,
that's the one that's got the,
That's the 06. It's a fine truck. It's a 6.0. And we got some issues with it. And
so whatever monies we put into it, it's gonna stay right here.
yeah, oh yeah, yes, sir. The sheriff, the money that the sheriff come up with, the $5,000 here a couple of months back. Everybody got to spend it on stuff they needed for the department. We actually put it in that truck. They had some injector issues. He fixed all that. It took 5,000 to fix that. Truck running great, but when the truck was running great, then it found the other problems that it was having, and that's when all this happened. And so now, that's where we're at now. So, I wished I had a figure to give you, but I've begged him trying to get the cost from it, but he's busy. He's got a lot of vehicles in his yard, so I guess he'll give it to me when he gets some time. So,
I'm sorry.
no, I'm just saying, I'll have to come back to you when he gets that done and go from there. As far, but I ain't gonna go through the state again to try to get 50% of that covered.
So you wanna come back to us when you get a better figure, or you want to move forward to $8,000?
Well, I need operating money because we don't only got $2,000 in the bank to operate off the rest of the year. So I need some funds to continue to get us through to October. I'd also like to pay Ricky Howell back the 2,100 and the 2,135 that we owe him for all the work that he done, the drywall. I mean, it's a really nice place right there right now. We got some more work to do, but we're doing baby steps. The walls for the kitchen and all that, the outside walls are falling down, the covers and stuff. So we'll address that a little bit later on. So that was our first step, trying to make our fire department a little presentable, because it's a little rough right now.
So right now, you're saying 8,000, what you need to offer.
8,000 and then pay off Ricky and just operate off and, the expenses and stuff. Yeah, that's the figure that I come up with. I appreciate y'all, taking the time and looking at it. I mean, obviously, whatever y'all can do is more than what we got.
Yeah, we definitely need y'all, that's for sure.
Yeah, we have been running a lot of calls, and
Yeah.
well, that's another thing. Like I said, we're mutual aid. We're back and forth to Ponce Leon, New Hope. We're helping Walton County a lot. That's one of the things that we're having to do since Walton County letting us use this stuff. They've called us several times to come help them out. So we're going all over the place.
Yeah, we appreciate all the hard work y'all put in, that's no doubt with that.
I appreciate that. So, but that's what I wanted to bring to y'all this morning.
Chance, when you say 8,000, that don't include the expenses, that don't include expenses.
The only expense that includes is paying off,
Well,
Ricky Howell, because he had those and he had some drywall people come in.
but no expense on the truck that's currently
Yes, sir.
being worked
No, sir. Well, originally, when I come up with that $8,000, I was gonna cover the 47, the cost on the initial charge for the truck.
on. Yeah,
I was gonna cover that.
because you got a 50%
47
reimbursement on
Yeah,
that.
47.95, I was gonna cover that. But now that I'm gonna just wait and see what the total bill is, I'm gonna resubmit it to the state and try to get all of it covered and then pay 50% of that. But I will tell you, the last couple of times that I went through the state trying to doing grants for like the extrication equipment, 2 separate times, it was $7,100 a piece. And they pay 50% of it. They reimbursed me 100% of the cost. So we've been able to, and that was last year. So I'm hoping that that follows suit this time, but I just can't.
Did you do a 50/50 this year with forestry?
I had,
Okay, you haven't received anything?
well, that
back
was,
on
the 50/50 was for the truck repair.
it? Okay, okay.
Yeah, that was
That's
for the
what I
truck
was
repair.
wondering.
That's what we were approved and, we were granted approved before that.
Okay.
But obviously I hadn't paid it yet because he's come up with the other problem with the truck.
Yeah,
So
okay, I see what you're
it's just sitting there in limbo. So I'm gonna pull it back and try to rewrite it once he gives me the total figure for the truck.
So the rest of it, after you pay Ricky, the rest of it will be just operating money.
Yeah, we're looking about, well,
$7,000.
I figured, well, at the time I come up with 8,000, I was gonna pay that $4,000 to Callahan. But now that I'm gonna redo it, I mean, that was gonna give us about $5,000 to operate off the rest of the year. But now that I'm gonna redo that, it'll give us a little bit more, but, so whatever the commissioners deem reasonable. I just know we're down to $2,300 and that's not gonna go very far.
Well, I mean, $8,000 don't go too far, is it, when you start looking at what things cost anymore, and that's the problem,
Cause
you know?
and I will tell you that our engine, the AC is quitting the engine again. That's one of the stipulations, some of the guidelines. I have to have a working AC in our fire engines. I gotta have somewhere for my firemen to get cool off, especially with summer coming. It's super, super hot. I have to have an air conditioner for me to put my guys in to cool off. It's quit. So there's another expense I ain't even hit up on y'all. It just keeps coming.
Anyway, who should be playing, Sean?
Yeah, I think we can pull it from somewhere on, I mean, I'll make a motion, we just go ahead and pay the $8,000 to pull from the, remaining money from the Fairview property, that we pulled it from the, Great Fire Department. There's a little bit more left there. So hopefully we can make it the end of the year.
I'm not saying.
I would have a motion to second, pull the money from the,
Proceeds from the,
Bear Hewitt, for the total of $8,000. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hathaway?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yes.
Yes.
I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
All right, our next item is grant proposal for the 911 department asset.
I'm here. Good morning. I got 4 grant renewals that are due. We do them every year. It's just to help our maintenance for our current GIS software and 911 system. Make it quick. The first one is for Esri. It's our license for our E911 map. They help us do the editing to it when we do our addressing. It's for 2,100. That's the first one.
You just wanna go over all of them?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
The second one is for Datamark. It's 11,000. It's for our GIS data hosting, which is again for the 911 system for addressing. The fourth one is mission critical partners. They're the ones who actually apply the data from the addressing to go into the system for our 911, and then Converge One, they're the ones who manage and maintenance our Vesta system, which is 911 system, so phone call system. And it's for 61,000.
I make a motion, we, apply for these grants.
All right, I have a motion on the floor to apply for these grants. Do you hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just wanna say, actually, thank you for everything you do. I'm not gonna ask any questions.
Thank you so much.
For every dollar you get, that's one less dollar the county has to pay. And having the foresight to know that you need this, sometimes it's hard because you don't know what's happening with technology, and
Yeah.
how it moves. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate it. The county getting these funds for us.
Thank you.
Actually, before you speak now, Mr. Chair, if I may, she had me say Road and Bridge with this program. We really need it. And thank you. Because it didn't cost me nothing. Appreciate it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more discussion? Hathaway?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, we're going down to the Safe Haven baby box, Wichita dates.
Mr. Mullen asked me to put out that on the agenda.
I'm not personally one from the pastor that came slowly, but I think, I didn't want to die on the line, so to speak. But I believe y'all mentioned we want to have a workshop day. I know, it's
You wanna reach out to them and set something up?
Yeah, that'd be the best thing, they just reach out to them and then we come up with a strategy.
Y'all have their contact information?
I do, I call,
Yeah.
I'll do a good thing.
All right, is that all on that thing?
Yes, sir.
We'll go down, continue over to sign on Jack Johnson Tree. Jack?
Good morning. This is to assign a task order, to Dewberry Engineering to do the design work for Jack Johnson over Blue Creek Bridge, and that's bridge number 524126. The task order would be for $11,400. And that again is to do the design work. This is a late ad, in the season for a BSCOP program. They, were able to have additional funding in that program, and we got this award a little bit later in the year.
Make a motion, we, apply.
All right, have a motion on the floor to apply. To hear a second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I need a motion for the task order to be approved.
Okay, so we already applied for the task order?
So we have been awarded the grant.
Okay, we've been awarded, okay.
Yes, sir.
They need approval.
We need approval to have Dewberry do the design, please.
Somebody. Motion
All right.
made, amended it.
Motion amended to help you there with the, yeah, all right. Do you hear a second?
Second.
All right. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? How's the vote?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Another bridge the other way.
All right, let's go down to county coordinator, Dr. Road Release.
Yes, and we talking about things clearing up, we got it over. We don't know that some of our equipment is older. I sent it to Beard Equipment. We're looking at a pretty hefty bill of motor. Got hot, so it's gonna be down for a month and a half probably. Mr. Stafford, you might wanna talk about some, if you got a road that we gotta reclaim, Mr. Erickson, you might wanna, you got some spring break stuff, so I need to vent this roller for 1 month while ours is out. Y'all on tab 9, y'all have the best price I can get, $4,500 a month, and I'm requesting and recommending that y'all allow me to rent, this, release this for 1 month.
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second. And Angie, this is using this out of,
Is that part of the motion to use road contingency?
yeah.
I need that part of the motion, please.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? How's the vote?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
What was the total price of fixing that engine?
And they don't think about it, it's all, you get in there, there's chance, just get them. The motor was bad, 6,500, and they found another problem. We don't know how much that's gonna be, but it's gonna be less than 6,000, we probably looking at 10 grand. Of course, now, that road was here when I come here.
Yeah, that's been here a long time. So cheaper than mine.
But we got a lot of work coming up. I need a roller. We got some work out on the EMS building. John needs it too. To do some work out there and back around the building. But thank y'all. We'll get it. It'll be here. Ready to roll tomorrow. Next thing, Mr. Rusey got it and told me what I was kind of going to say, but, I said, I'm gonna tell you what to do last night. There's where we at. What he said. They gonna meet next month. After meeting. Probably take over within a month and a half, so I said that will probably, go to the city. And have at the next meeting. But they did discuss this pretty fast.
Somewhere I look into that.
Well, I think the agreement has already been put together, so I mean, this goes back to 2016, so we get into that, it's gonna be a lot of changes that's gonna have to go through all three entities, and I don't think that, I think it's, no, it's safe, it's gonna be all. myself to get the agreement, some paperwork, Washington County, Holmes, city. So it was established, like I said, back in 2015, 16.
You know, we began to work on some of our legal issues with the Hood Family here, and I don't need to tell y'all what kind of budget we're looking at this year. Really don't know, but I need to save all the hints.
Right. Yeah, we want to do that. Or they bring it for us. All right, we'll go down to the building fish planning, ICC building, speech schedule, and Bennett.
Mr. Earl, that's quick right out for God, excuse me, while y'all look into that. The board probably been over, but all these projects we have, that's things to do, it's just here to see if it's way behind. If y'all need something, call 1119, that's probably who you want to get. Welcome aboard.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for letting me be up here, the building official of Holmes County. Last meeting, we were talking about adopting the ICC evaluation tables. I was tasked with getting some information, and this is what we pulled. We pulled, I think there's 10 of them total, 5 of them through contractors, 5 of them through owners. I highlighted the owner portion of it, so you can kind of get an idea of what we're dealing with. Again, the evaluation table is only for new construction. It does not affect anything that's being remodeled and anything like that. And it doesn't increase our fees. What it does is it gives us a tool to use for an evaluation for our fees. And you can see there in the contractors, the evaluation given is sometimes higher than the ICC evaluation table at the 90% that we had talked about. Also just wanted the commissioners to know, these fees, and I think there was a concern that taxes and stuff like that might be assessed on these evaluations. Those are already being evaluated at a fair market value. So given the fact that, look at the last example, if you would, you got a 3,100 square foot house heated, plus an additional 1,200 non-heated. The evaluation given and the permit fee, compared to the ICC table and the permit fee, it's not a considerable difference. But what it does allow us to do is it allows us to deal with an honest number. And that house, when it's built, the insurance company is going to evaluate it at a square footage price for replacement value. That will be a lot closer to that second number. The taxes on it are going to be evaluated at a fee that's a lot closer to that second number. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what the folks are saying that they're building for. Everybody's using a table, they're using some kind of mechanism to get a general understanding, a square footage number. And again, I had this conversation the other day, with a nice couple, and I think me and my permit tech tries to explain to them best they can. If you have to pull, if you have to get a loan from the bank to pay for this house, pay a contractor for this house, what would that loan be? And that kind of gives them a general idea of what they're looking at for an evaluation. The dollar figures for the ICC table, and again, now, if it does fluctuate higher or lower, depending on the economy, depending on, labor, depends on all kinds of stuff. But right now, they're currently at 90%, the evaluation is $153.72. So I think our tax assessor is doing it, square footage of like $150 a square foot. So we're really neck and neck. It's not like it's an extraordinary extra amount of money. But it does help us out considerably. Again, and it avoids the awkward conversations, you know, because it almost sounds like I'm trying to extort people for more money, and all I'm trying to do is kind of cover myself. And, you know, when I get audited, or when the building department gets audited, you know, we have to show real numbers. Just like with tax appraisers and stuff like that right there, those are real numbers that they go through an audit system, just like everyone does. We're all accountable for something, to someone, except for maybe the auditors. I don't know who they're accountable to. Yeah. But, so just like I said, just, you know, an example right there, you know, that's just, and again, 90% of the evaluation table, I think is very realistic. Yeah, in the building industry. You know, I mean, the example I was saying the other day, I mean, I had a lady building almost 3,000 square foot house, and her valuation was $166,728, something like that. I said, I don't think that you could buy the lumber for that house for that, you know. You know, it doesn't matter if you save it up or not, doesn't matter if it getting donated, doesn't matter if you cut a bunch of it off your own property. It's supposed to be evaluated as if you are paying a contractor and they're building that house for you. So,
Keith, when you get in a situation like that with an individual and they're telling you, it only cost me $166,000 to build this house, and you're like, no, this house costs $300,000. Where does that ball lie? I mean, what number do you put down? What number are you statutorily held to, or what are you authorized to?
well, we're trying to, at the end of the day, what I try to tell them to do is, I said, I've got to have something realistic. Again, I go through an audit process, the building department goes through an audit process. And, you know, and a lot of that I'm explaining to these owners, because they just don't know. They really truly just don't know. You know, this is sometimes based off of their own history. It's sometimes half of them have no idea what their budget's gonna be when they come in here and pull a permit. And so, and if you really look at these numbers real quick here and do the math, and I know Mr. Erickson, pretty good with the math, you'll see the percentage is very, very low, you know, as far as total cost versus how much permit fee is.
Well, I see the discrepancies too, but
Yes.
just back to my question again, what is the process now? So if she comes in here to 150,000, you like, no, more realistic to 300,000.
Right.
I mean, where's your limit? I mean, what's the authority? Where does that lie?
Well,
what have you been doing?
what we try to do is work with everybody, honestly. But, you know, if they can feel comfortable at giving me a better number, something like I said, is a little bit more realistic, then we use that number. You know, I mean, if not, the only option I have is to have they can give me a breakdown on material. I can't ask for, you know, necessarily for labor prices or contract prices, but I can ask for an itemized material list. And based on the itemized material list, we can double that figure to come up with a budget.
So that's your legal.
That's my legal out. Yes.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we get a lot of people in Holmes County who pay cash for everything, so they come in there and they can say,
Yes, sir.
Built $200,000 house for 50,000, and there's no proof of that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
that's why I was just curious, what was the process now? Because, you know, and like you said, a lot of people, they come in there with down, no clue what they're gonna spend, because they're gonna spend the least amount possible.
Right.
If it takes them a year or 4 years to build a house, they're just gonna.
Oh, I've got fellas 5 years in.
You see, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And,
So,
it's.
so as long as you show progress, you know, we keep extending the permit and, you know, without a fee, I don't do that. You know, I have the option to approve or disapprove, of the, you know, of extending the permit without any additional cost. You know, and like I tell people, I say, as long as you're showing positive growth, or you contacted me and you said, hey, you know, we ran into this hiccup, it's gonna take a little bit longer. like, all right, well, you need, another 180 days or 90 days or something like that. So again, we try to really work with folks. I don't wanna tell people no. I just wanna make sure that they know how to get to where they gotta get to. So
There's no square footage statutorily, right?
there is no square footage statutorily, no, sir. I mean, this is about the closest we got. And again, I think Holmes County might be the only county that has not adopted the ICC tables. And we're assessing that, like you said, 90% of the table calls, other counties, I think Washington County is 100% of their calls. Bay County, probably same thing. I know, talking to a colleague of mine in Panama City Beach, they use a 90% evaluation. So, and they may pick up, they have impact fees, they have all kinds of things that, you go build down there, the permit fee is gonna be the cheapest thing you get. You're gonna have to go through engineering evaluations, you're gonna have to go through, just site plan approval itself is process, We're simply, like I said, without, dealing with any kind of impact fees or anything like that right there, I think is a very fair evaluation.
It's really a double-edged sword. I mean, the man standing in the back right there probably can tell you, you take a guy that builds a brand new house and it's evaluated. I mean, they do it all themselves and it's 200,000, but then
Yes.
they're in the neighborhood where a guy's got a $500,000 house, and over the years, the percentages have went up 2-3% based on the state requirements. And they're paying taxes $4,000 or $5,000 a year versus a new house. It's not gonna be close to that because, they come in with a low valuation from the end of the.
But like I said, the tax appraisers, they're already using an evaluation table to appraise these houses. It doesn't matter what the dollar figure is, we submit to them. He's using his own figure. So this does not really affect them so much.
So if your figures are higher than his figures, he'll go with his figures and look at your figures, is what you're saying?
I would imagine so. I mean, he's trying to get, he's trying to do fair market value as well. And so, and so that's, but given the conversation I have with him, he likes the fact that he doesn't have to come up with, these extra figures either. He can just, he can use the evaluation and call it good, but realistically, they're only, very, very, very small percentage apart from each other. Like
He's
$3.
is he in favor of this then?
I would believe so, yes, sir. Yes, yeah, because it's only gonna make his job much easier,
Keith, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about auditing a while ago.
Yes, sir.
All right, when you get audited and you put the price, just like you say, a while ago, you talk to them, you come up with a price.
Yes, sir.
So they come in and audit it.
Yes.
Have you ever had one?
I have not had anybody question anything like that. But again, we try to get to a realistic price. If we can't get to that realistic price, then I have to ask for the material breakdown and we have to go from there. And then again, it becomes a very awkward conversation. You're trying to tell people, hey, this is what this is the way that it's configured. Again, I haven't had an auditor pull a file where they were questioning the price, yet. So, cause they can just, ask some random files. So it's not like I can cherry pick a couple of interesting files and hand it to them, so.
Mr. Stevens, the given valuation is that, a little rough to explain or to.
Well, the given evaluation, that's what they've come in to say, hey, this is what our price is gonna be. And you can see in the contractor's list right there, their evaluation is slightly higher than the ICC table. And that's because it could be finishes, it could be a number of things. I mean, you can, you go with a concrete stained floor versus a high-end wood, flooring, you could be, thousands of extra dollars on a house. So, it depends on their evaluation of it versus, but that's the price given. That's what they've kind of come up with. And I think, obviously contractors doing this stuff for a living. you know, they have a rough idea of what it's gonna cost them. Cause they're obviously not in the business to lose money. So that's why their numbers are much, I would say credible, but much more realistic. So.
All right, any more questions for Keith on this?
Hey, that would be a handy tool to have.
Do you want to speak on it, Mr. Run?
Handy tool. My field guy does look at the permits when he goes out and.
Right, can you, come on, state your name.
Brian Bell, property appraiser. He talked to me about it. We do get a permit for every house and their permit sells, so the following year we go out. So it ain't gonna affect what we do, but it is a good tool to have. Cause sometimes we go out and assess a new house, I'll just make this up, $350,000. And, you know, we look at the permit and they show 180 or 200, you know what I mean? So it would be a good tool to have, cause we would see a more realistic comparison. So if we put something on at 350 and it said 325, well, it might be a little high. I mean, it'd be a good tool to have.
Thank you. All right, we asked Keith to come back before us for this today, is the board want to take action on this?
Keith, why does Walton County still operate in the $90 ranges? I don't think they even out of 100 yet. And I know they don't collect permit fees at this time, so you can't carry over their 4-year budget.
Right. Well, see, they also, a lot of the other things that affect some of these, I'll call them, that are established, they have the impact fees. They have a lot of different fees that you have to pay when you go in there and pull permits and stuff like that. I mean, we're just based off of just permit fees, you know, as far as, we're, again, you know, I mean, what is our planning department? $25, you know, $25 fee for a land use letter, you know. I'm not sure what County's, you know, fee are, but ultimately, at the end of the day, we're probably, you know, if the planner's got to do research, it costs us money. You know, it costs Holmes County money. You know, so a lot of these other places, you know, so they have studies, they have different things that they do that they're charging people all along that whole process. We don't do that. Yeah, we're not doing that. Yes, sir.
It's, I know they adopted the ICC way a while back.
Yes, sir.
But he still only operates at about, maybe 90 now. It's not even 100 per square foot, you know, so it's just, and yours is, what's our price here?
Well, it's the current, it's, what I'm suggesting is just, we just, stay up with the current ICC table at currently, at 90% evaluation, it's $153, I think, 72 cents. So.
Yeah, still $63 more
Mhm.
per square foot.
Mhm.
But a lot plays involved in that too.
And I know you need some consistency within your department.
Yes, sir.
It would. It's just, I think maybe you can get me clear, if I can build this house for 80 versus the contractor, 80 square foot, at the contractor 150.
Well, you would solve our nation's problem with affordable housing.
If you do that, for
Yes, sir.
example, I mean, would the permit?
But I have that number. I mean, those are numbers that have been presented to me, and I'm like, they're just, you can't prove to me you can build that, and then you would have to prove to me you can build it for, you know, that, because I would request the material price from you. You know, now, and again, we know, you know, let's say that they do save $30,000 or $50,000 building themselves. The evaluation is simply, you know, you can see the permit fee. And again, if you use the very last example, you know, that's what, you know, $75,000 difference. That permit fee is only $900 difference. So it's a very small percentage. I think I said last time, it's about 5/8 of 1%. So when you're budgeting your house, and you're budgeting the total cost, you're looking at 5/8 of 1% for a permit fee. And that gets me out there, I'm doing 30 inspections on a single family house. 30 inspections. Now, I don't go out there 30 times because sometimes I can get 2 or 3 at a time. But, you know, that gets me out there looking at everything, making sure it conforms to the Florida building code. Giving you pointers, giving you tips, you know, corrections, re-inspections, you know. And so, it's kind of like I said, it's sort of, I don't want to say it's the cost of doing business, but it's kind of the cost of doing business, you know, I mean, that's, you know, and again, you buy a house, doesn't matter what you buy a house for, you know, I mean, the former house I had, I bought it, you know, and I'll just say that, you know, it was right around $150,000. My insurance company said the replacement value of that house is gonna be $250,000, and that's what I'm gonna pay insurance based on, not the 150 I thought it. It's the replacement. So that's what they're doing. They're using the square footage for the replacement value. You know, so even if they built this house right here, you know, the almost a 4,500 square foot house for $375,000, they're gonna get evaluated off the square footage of that price or that house, and that's what their insurance is gonna be based on. So. You know,
And I get it, we put you in a bad situation, we do.
And
It's just a change.
and again, we have adopted this in the past. This was a part of what Holmes County did. It just, what happened was, I believe, is when it was adopted, it did not continue. It was only adopted for that season, so to speak. And then when the tables changed, it went away. So I would ask that the motion be that we just continue to, if this fee goes higher or lower, we just maintain, you know, the ICC table as an evaluation tool. So.
And the ICC table, it gets updated, what, every 6 months?
Yes, sir. Around roughly every 6 months. Yes, sir.
So you don't have to go down either.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I've only really started looking at it, kind of a little bit more depth this last go around. So I don't know if it fluctuates higher or lower. Now, it is based off of cost. It is based off of average cost. It's based off of, you know, a lot of different factors, economy, stuff like that. Yes, sir. So.
I just know that we're a real, Ford County, people try to do all they can do to save when they build and do other things. And I realize we're probably one of the 2 or 3 counties that don't, probably 2 counties instead of 4 that don't have it.
Yes, sir.
But am I getting this right, that even though they go out there and they save money and they build their house, when the valuation comes up, I read what I'm trying to say, it doesn't matter how much money they save.
Right.
That valuation.
That table is, yeah, well, and even, you know, and I don't want to speak for Brian, but Brian's gonna put his own evaluation on there, you know, based off of square footage. If he has something that's similar to mine, he could simply, you know, adopt that or use that to be straight across the board. That way, you know, when it comes time to assess the house, they can look at the permit fee and go, oh, this is a realistic number. Versus now where it's not that realistic sometimes. I know, you know, $375,000 seems like a pretty fair house, but at 4,000 square foot, you're talking less than $100 square foot. I don't know anywhere in the country you're gonna build for under $100 square foot. It's just, I don't think it's possible. You know, I just, you know, it just isn't possible.
You've got down at the bottom, you got 2 numbers, one of them 20,457.
Yes, sir.
The other's 22,819.
Right. That would be your permit fees based off of all those numbers on the right-hand side and the left-hand side. You see the differences? I mean, if we adopted the evaluation table, it'd be, $200, or what, $2,500 more, give or take. So we're not talking huge numbers.
No, you're just increasing you're increasing your fees. Yeah. Building department fees, $2,500 a year on public, that's all.
So,
In the valuation, because of the cost.
in the evaluations, yes, sir. Yeah, but again, when we're only talking new construction and we're not talking
Oh, yeah.
remodels, roofs and different things like that. You know, we've actually tried to keep our costs really low on those. Anything that just requires a one and done permit, typically less than $100. So,
What are you adding on an addition? How does that fall in for an addition to your house later on or something?
the addition is just based off value, just whatever the valuation is that they're doing it for. So, yes, sir. So if you come in there, and again, I mean, it still has to be somewhat realistic, but we don't use this evaluation as a square footage price for that addition. It was just, like I said, this is something new construction. So, the addition would be based off of honesty and folks being, truthful about what they're doing.
If they don't pull a permit.
If they pull a permit, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the whole ball game. Yeah.
Board have any more questions?
Yeah, I think we do put the department in a bad predicament, having, it's not fair for Keith to have to negotiate. He needs something to work out with. Me personally, I'm gonna make the motion that we update this about the SEC valuation table to, get some consistency in it.
All right,
I don't see where it's gonna hurt.
we have a motion on the floor. Here a second.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Or any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Keith, I noticed on the prices, the owner, it seems to go up, but the contractor, seem like is that,
Well, that's because the contractors are giving us realistic numbers. That's why. They're basing theirs off of their contract price and the materials, what they believe that they can, do the house for with their, profit margin in there. So, yes, sir, and realistically, the way it works is it's supposed to be the evaluation of what they've given us or the ICC is typically the higher of the two. And again, because we talk about, how that house is finished. I mean, it could be a number of different things, so I mean, you can do a square footage price on a small, 1,200 square foot house with no frills and no thrills, or you can take that 1,200 square foot house and put in, marble tile and gold faucets, and you could have that price go way up considering. And so, what they're doing is they're looking at that house in a whole, with everything that's in it, and that's how they're coming up with their price. So, and again, if you notice, it's much more consistent with that table. In fact, in a couple of these cases right here, it's even slightly higher. Now, if you're doing 100% of the valuation, it'd be really spot on. But what we're requesting, is 90% valuation.
so the contractor pretty much knows what he's doing.
Yes, sir.
His price is
Yes, sir.
different.
Yes, sir. That's why the prices reflect much closer to an ICC evaluation.
Contractors can get all you can, right up to the very.
And it's lower.
Yeah.
Some of the
Yes, sir.
All right, any more discussion?
I wanted to say this, appreciate everything you guys do. At the end of the day, I won't vote for this because it is a fee increase. Look at the yearly amount of fee increase, and I understand the frustration, but I just don't see it imposing another fee right now without the full, looking at this. I don't feel like it's the time to do this, so, but I do appreciate everything you do. I really do.
Fair enough. Thank you.
All right, any more discussion? Malcolm?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. All righty, we'll go to the next item, Williamson Land Use Amendment, please.
Good morning, gentlemen. This is a small scale land use amendment, it will be referenced as ordinance number 2026-01. I'll go ahead and read the ordinance into the record, and I'll read some stuff from staff report and so be board questions. This is an ordinance of Holmes County, Florida, amending volume 3 of the Holmes County Year 2045 Comprehensive Plan, Future Land Use Map Series, as amended, amending chapter 2, Future Land Use Element, providing for an amendment to the year 2045 Future Land Use Map as amended, changing the future land use category of part of one parcel located along Highway 173 from agriculture to commercial, totaling 1.01 acres. It's in section 24, township 7 north, range 14 west, and section 19, township 7 north, range 13 west. Parcel number 0324.00-000-000-001.100. Providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. This project was presented to the Holmes County Planning Commission on February 26, 2026. And the Planning Commission recommended this at the first hearing unanimously for approval. This is the second hearing on the project, March 17th, 2026. The time is 10:01 a.m. This project, again, it's located on parcel 1 or on Highway 173. The applicant is Eric Williamson. The parcel size again is 1.012 acres. And the purpose for this request is that he has a business that is not allowed in agriculture, so he's requesting to change it to commercial. He runs a towing or recovery business, so he's not allowed to tow the vehicles or the personal property, rather, back across the state line to his home office in Alabama. So that's the purpose of the request. I'd be glad to answer any questions, and if I can't handle them, the applicant is here if you have any questions from the applicant.
It was recommended by the planning commission, you said.
Yep, recommended unanimously for approval, and that is also my recommendation.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll have a motion on the floor to approve. Do you hear a second? Second. Have a motion in a second. Any discussion? How's the vote?
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, John. I'll go delivered partners. Tim?
Hey, good morning. Just want to give you a few quick updates. We'll start with the HVAC RFP for the EMS facility. We helped draft that, get it in proper order, and I believe it's scheduled to run beginning tomorrow until Wednesday, April the 1st. Bids are due on Tuesday, April the 7th. So had to put the HVAC work out. But in talking with the sheriff, timeline and all that, I know he's pushing it forward. That shouldn't hold him up. I think once we get the bids in and everything, he won't be ready for that for a few more weeks. So in a good place there. Does anyone have any questions on that particular project?
Any questions, Paul?
Okay. Just like I said, just wanted to give a quick update on that, as well as the Ag Center. We are still working with the county. I think we're going to schedule a punch list walkthrough here in the next week or two. There's been a few issues out there. One relating to the heating and cooling. Appears that maybe a breaker had been turned off when they were installing the fans, but I think that issue has been resolved. And you may have heard there was a leak in the roof that the roofers have been out there, I think, last week to inspect that, made some fixes, but we were told that was a top priority that they intend to get resolved here soon. And then, like I said, we'll walk through the county on the punch list and make sure everything looks great before Mary's doing the CEI on that, make sure everything's solid. So
you think there was a flip breaker to one of the units wasn't coming on correctly?
Yes, sir. That's what we
When
were.
I was out there 2 days ago, on the calendar, she said that was out, it just wouldn't get cooled down like it should be when you got to the hot part of the year yet. So,
Yes, sir.
and it just still had issue with the leaking roof. So.
Yes, sir. We're watching that closely. I want to give you a quick update on the beautification grants for 7981 State Line. Everything has been finally signed off and approved by FDOT. We actually, per the sheriff's request, inquired about, if it had to be bid out or if the county could do the work. We're happy to inform you that was approved. The county will be able to do that work, and maybe there's some cost savings involved, there as well. So, that should be underway very, very soon. Quickly, the EDA grant that we've been working on, I think we've got that prepared and ready. We'll work with James, maybe later this afternoon or this week on creating the account, and then establishing the portal where that grant needs to be uploaded and everything. But I think we've got everything.
Everybody looks pretty good on it.
Yes, sir.
That sounds good.
And then quickly, legislative update. I think we sent y'all an update late Friday. They did adjourn, sign and died, and that basically indicated that all the legislation that had been pending officially died on Friday. A lot of negative stuff that we were tracking. Unfortunately, they didn't finish the budget. So, it looks like they'll be back after Easter, probably around mid-April or later in the month, depending on if the House and Senate can resolve those allocation differences. It's about 1.4 billion that they're apart right now, but I think there's some optimism that they can get that done. You may recall that there is some pending appropriations for the county. The House and Senate has already appropriated $1 million for the jail expansion, rehabilitation expansion. So that will probably go, they'll probably shade that out at 1 million. I know we requested 2, but that's probably about one of the few projects we've seen where they've agreed on an appropriation. And then the emergency equipment, it's in the House at 175 right now. Hopefully we get that full amount of 350,000 for that equipment before they're done. But like I said, we gave you kind of a quick overview on Friday. We're working on a final bill report and analysis of some of the key bills that did pass. I think we have shared with you the financial accountability and transparency legislation that was passed that requires counties and cities to post their budgets 5 days before a hearing. That information has to be in a format that's easy to read and analyze. Also requires a 10% budget reduction exercise without touching law enforcement and fire services, so-called essential services. That information also has to be posted online, so you show what a 10% reduction would look like. Also requiring to post employee salaries quarterly. So these are some changes that are coming. I think implementation of that legislation is January 1, so it won't be anything that affects your budget this year for 26, 27. But
Where will these postings be required?
on the county's website. So that was something that we did see end up getting passed in the last week. But like I said, with regards to property taxes, I think we've kept y'all up to date. The House passed a proposal that would essentially eliminate them. The Senate did not really express any appetite to tackle this issue during the 60-day session. Senate and the governor was pretty clear they wanted to look at it after session. When that's going to be, no one knows. Our folks seem to think it may be closer to August before they come back and do. I think there's some strategy there in mind. It should be noted that there was a poll that was done after the House passed their legislation that showed that particular proposal polling at around 56%, which is insufficient for the 60% that you'll need for passage. So, and I think the Senate and the governor are probably aware of that. Therefore, I think what they're looking at now is something a little bit more narrow, a little bit more streamlined, something that they think can get 60% of voter support in November. So stay tuned. Like I said, we don't know when they may come back. We know they will. But like I said, we'll keep y'all up to date on that as it moves forward. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going down to the county engineers, Dewberry.
Not here.
All righty, Melvin.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just wanted to give a quick update on the state transportation grant applications that we were tasked to do. Back in January, we submitted a TA application for the sidewalk improvements on 181 at Westville. We received some comments back a week or so ago, and I've made all the updates to that, responded to that. The only thing lacking is a letter referencing our comprehensive plan that John is helping us with. And as soon as that gets done, hopefully the next day or so, we'll be able to submit that application back. On the two scrap Scott roads that we were tasked with, I've sent that stuff to Jane, and it's ready to be uploaded. The deadline's March 25th on that. As far as projects, only have two updates this morning on the pilot infrastructure project. I was out there this morning, met with the contractor at 7 and went over some punch list items that's left to do on that. We received some items from DOT that when they done their walkthrough on the stuff in the DOT right away, and so we've got a few things that we need to fix, and hopefully by the end of next week all that'll be done and we can close that project out. Any questions on that?
Did you get that took care of on Man Road?
I did, met with him this morning on that. So we got that straightened out. On the Project Gateway down below the interstate, the notice to proceed was March the 2nd. Contractor has mobilized part of his equipment and installed all the silt fence and float turbidity barrier out there in the pond. Started moving a little dirt. We're waiting on some submittals for how they're gonna do that special soil stabilization there where we're filling in that pond. They made one submittal on it. We had some comments and they're addressing that. And then we have to get that squared away before they actually start out there filling the pond. And they should be moving along on that. So that's all I have, unless y'all have any questions.
Any questions on the board?
Thank y'all.
Thank you. All they have? Alrighty. All right, we'll go down to the county attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the last meeting, we had a task order between Matrix Consulting and Holmes County that we wanted to bring back to make sure we had a thorough understanding of what we were signing. One was a reimbursement. We do have a representative from Matrix, we'll call him up here shortly, but the scope of work is essentially to review all FEMA grants in the portal, what's outstanding, necessary steps to start out the project we're closing out. It is $20,000. And the question is it reimbursable? Right now, we don't know, but for accounting purposes, we need to assume that it's not. But we do have a representative this time. We could call him up for any direct questions. Thank you for coming and welcome to being patient.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioner. My name is Billy Waddell, and I'm the Senior Director for Metric Engineering and Metric Consulting. Basically, the first thing I do want to say is that this is not a reimbursable expense. FEMA is not reimbursing for any administrative cost. So that's the first thing I wanted to state on that. Mr. Nolan actually stated correctly that, this is actually to do a deep dive into what the previous consultants had already established. We're trying to find out exactly what was left on the table, what is out there for Holmes County that we need to, find reimbursement for, and also, what is actually open. So the commissioners have any questions?
I think it's a good idea, and I met with your team and Barry Lee, we had a conference call last week on that. There's just so many things, and I think with you guys coming on board, I think this is a good way to clean all that up, kind of do some housekeeping on that. One of the things I wanted to ask, maybe you, Barry, or Barry, I don't know if Barry can answer this question. We had one invoice with our previous contractor that we paid here a couple meetings, 2-3 meetings ago. And I think they said they were gonna try to go back and ask for reimbursement on that amount. I'm not for certain if that's been done or not, or if that would be done under you guys included in this. I don't know where that would fall. Barry, do you have any answers to that?
Yes, sir. From my understanding, previous contractors already, Mason and them have already filled all that out and have already sent it back.
Okay.
So I don't think that would be something that Metric falls.
Okay, well, those are just things like that. We want to make sure we clean up under this $20,000 because we could probably be losing more than that or having something open up that we don't know about. Exactly.
Anything outstanding.
I totally agree with that. That's one of our plans is actually to go back to the previous contract to see exactly what was left. if there's anything that we can actually pursue that they did not even go after.
Yeah.
So that's another part of this, actually to do that research as well before, any new disaster actually does happen.
And I think Barry, I know, I keep calling on you because I've been talking to you a lot. You went back and you looked and you saw what, I don't know if it's gonna be possible or not, but they saw some things that weren't actually looked at. I don't know if possible reimbursement, the window's still open, opportunity to get a few things or not. You wanna just update the board on that too, that way they kind of know what you're doing.
Barely emergency management director. So basically, there are in existence both large and small projects. Even back, we're going back even 5, 10 years, Hurricane Sally, Hurricane Michael. The idea is with Metro coming on board to their initial scope of work, authorize them a ceiling of $20,000 for a task order. That'll carry them roughly 6 months administrative costs, like Mr. Liddell said, that, so the board would be authorizing to spend that money to go back and see if there is any existing money from all those old projects that either number one was never followed up on appropriately, number two was never applied for, therefore never got obligated by FEMA, or any new existing projects that we want to chase now. So the scope of work is kind of an all encompassing, green light for them to really get into the portal and see what Holmes County is eligible for. And so the idea is that it could pay dividends, hundreds of thousands of dollars, even up to millions, if there's money floating out there that we haven't got, that we could have got. Or there might not be any. It's a gamble, but it's a calculated gamble because we know, looking at the portal, that we do have outstanding projects. One that's kind of well known is the Toadville Bridge project, where Holmes County got some money. And it wasn't enough money to finish the project, but we know that there's other existing money that potentially could be applied for to get it. And that's why that's why the board brought on project managers, to bring on experts to try to find, anything we can get, we need to get it, that Holmes County's eligible for, mostly from prior storms that we just didn't, that it was never applied for, never got. So the short version of it, from my perspective, is we're gonna try to clean up old messes and avoid making any new ones.
How far do you go back there?
2015, 2013, I would say. I think there's a good 10-year time span in there that, we didn't know what we didn't know, and I wasn't here, some of y'all weren't here, so it's hard to, so we're looking at old stuff, but I personally, I think there's money out there.
May not situation.
Yes, sir, that's true.
I can tell you one thing, I know Mr. Waddell for several years, he's doing digging.
I agree, I have full faith in they're gonna dig and pick over any rocks that are out there.
And to give you an update on that as well, we've actually already got into the portal, and currently there's 2 projects currently open for Hurricane Helene. There's 18 projects still open for Hurricane Sally. There was $27 million that was obligated, but only $1 million was awarded. So we need to go back and try to find out what happened with that other amount of money. And now there's also 6 projects that's still open for Mocking. So that's part of us going back now to find out why were these still out there. So that's to bring you up to date of where we are starting out.
Yeah, when I met with your team last week, it was very interesting to see what was still there. And and the state might say they're not eligible, they're not, but no one really knows until you go in there and start pulling that apart. So
that is so true. And Suzanne did want me to pass along, she's our project coordinator for Metro Consulting. She's actually meeting with the Louisiana legislature right now, so she could not make it. She wanted to be here, but it was already scheduled beforehand. So she wanted me to pass it. Does the board have any questions or?
So Nate, we're asking for right now is the 20,000 allow them to go ahead with it.
not to exceed 20,000 candidates.
And the task order, that person of y'all's package.
It's just not to exceed that based on what hours and rates. Then we come back with, I'm assuming you would come back with an invoice once completed within that 6 months timeframe, right?
That is correct, yes.
I have one question, and it really might be like, is it, has it ever happened where FEMA could come back later and authorize administrative costs? And if they do, then we go back and request reimbursement for this? So I'm just saying, is it possible that even though they're not authorized administrative costs right now, they could later?
Yeah, yes, they could come back later and say, you know, administrative costs are, but it would be during another administration. This current administration has actually taken out all administrative costs due to the fact that that was such a rising cost of all, contracts was the administrative portion.
But again, we could, this $1,000, not to exceed $1,000 potentially from our recommendation and what we talked about and what we've seen. Potentially, again, it could pay dividends and the county's going to get that money back most likely in obligations or money that was never obligated, that should have been obligated. So again, it's a risk, but it's a risk well worth it based on what we've seen in our recommendation and based on what Metro has seen in the portal that potentially is floating out there.
Correct.
Well, this is one of the things we've done in the past, is when you go back there and you look at that, and as you know, it's really, I mean, you go in there and you can apply for that, come back, get re-obligated to the county, and then the county can do it in-house, and anything we say, we can just put it back over the trustee, the validated money, and that's just money in the house at that point. If it's projects that we can do and can handle. I mean, it's really a no-brainer when you really think about it. I mean, even if you don't see nothing, it's worth knowing than not knowing that opportunities are there or not.
Yes, sir, that's exactly right. One of the things that some of y'all have already seen some of our after actions before, what we do is for our administrative costs, we actually try to show what our reclaimed amount was for the county to match it up to what our administrative costs were, so that you can see what the value of that actually was.
Angie, if we got someone to take it.
You could take it from FEMA validated funds or your road department contingencies.
The thing is, we don't really have to worry about it until you come back in 6 months to see.
I would just ask that you go ahead and prove where it's gonna come from, or we're going to have to bring every invoice back to the board.
Oh, I see. So it's a voice and then.
Yes, sir.
And we get one over it. I see. I make most of it, just go ahead and forward with it up to $61,000, not to exceed. I guess we just pay for it out of things validated money where it's already at. We'll show you the previous money at.
All right, do your second? Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? How do I?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
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 Thank you so much.
Thank y'all so much. You can get to work.
That's right.
All right, Greg, we'll go ahead. At the last, board meeting, we put an ongoing discussion of ditch dirt policy. I got the policy, but with some recommended language. Just wanted clarification. I know we're running pretty long here, but I just, whatever we take, I think we get time for policy real quick, just to reaffirm. So this is on page 112, the paragraph 1225, 111. It defines what surplus spoiled dirt is, which we all know it's not the clean dirt, it's ditch dirt. Has no commercial value by the county and offered to the public for free, no additional cost that will be incurred in the county delivering or transferring said surplus of dirt to private persons or corporations. Paragraph C is what Ms. Gracie has been having some issues down at the road bridge department when applicants are coming to her for this dirt. I'm just gonna read the full sentence. No private citizen or corporation shall receive more than 2 loads of surplus spoiled dirt in a calendar year. January to December. Said allowance shall be limited to 2 loads of surplus spoiled dirt per valid 911 address. The issue we're having, which I would recommend, depending on the template of the board, would be 2 loads of dirt for 1 person or 1 entity per calendar year. It doesn't matter if they have 10 parcels, they only get 2 loads of dirt, they can put it anywhere in the county. That's one option. The way it reads now, the ambiguity is, and Ms. Gracie's having a hard time, is it 2 loads of dirt for each parcel that they own that has a 911 address? that's what, for y'all today, it's more of a policy decision that I'm asking for help on. One other suggestion I would say, it says no private citizen or corporation, I would suggest changing that to entity. Because obviously C corp, there's more entities out there in the state of Florida recognize LLC partnerships, things of that nature. Not split hairs, but words have meaning.
Yeah, if your name tied in, you know, it should be one.
But back to the question, a property owner might have 10 parcels with different parcel ID numbers, but might have only 4 addresses on those 10 parcels. They're only getting 2 loads of dirt each year. They can get December 31, turn right around January 1 and get another 2. And I think that having some type of internal control system, I think, well, you can get a good point that I think our guys have been pretty much know.
Yeah, they don't know where it's going, who got it, yeah.
But if someone has, like I said, I know I'm being repetitive, but what's the pleasure of the board on the policy of how many loads of dirt? And one person for one entity per year, no matter how many parcels?
Right now, it's set up per address.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm just throwing this out there. So, I mean, if you look at the tax roll and you got so-and-so owing 100 rentals, so now you're limiting it to those 100 people. Just say there's 100 people and this guy owns 100 rentals. Well, this guy can only get 2 loads of dirt for his 100 rentals is what you're saying, right?
Potentially, that's it.
That's how you go ahead, I'm just saying.
Yes, sir.
So the 99 people that live in those houses that vote in Holmes County, that want dirt on their driveway, we potentially just cut up the dirt owing to everybody that rents a house for this individual. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was not the purpose of this. The purpose of this policy was to help somebody if they needed, and if the dirt was readily available, to provide that dirt in that area. That's how the policy was set up. The dirt's not available, dirt ain't being pulled from the ditch, should be home with dirt. You're not gonna get anywhere else. Not to hurt the ones that need it, the low income people renting houses, or the ones that are on subsidies, and the ones that need dirt because they can't get in and out of their driveway. Yeah, you can say you can go back on that landlord all day long. The landlord's gonna say, I can't get dirt no more. I mean, you're not potentially taking care of that particular resident at that point. That's my only problem with that. We looked at that when we developed this plan, was if you're gonna provide it to everybody you can in the fairest way, provide it to everybody you can, was provide it to one rural residential address per structure in the county. It wasn't based on individual or based on who had what, who didn't have what.
Well, the bad thing about that is, if we could put that in there, this county's not gonna be able to deliver to the obligation of bringing it to everybody. We're sitting up there in the pit right now, and I've got 6 loads of wet dirt laying, that's all I got. So
You won't be able to keep up.
Well, you don't have to keep up. The policy doesn't say you have to keep up. The policy says it's when it's readily available. If it's not available, we don't have to keep up.
yeah, it's just like you said, when Gracie hears it out there, they want their dirt right now.
Well,
It's like I say, I got 6 loads in the pit right now that is wet, where they can drive, and that's all I got.
I think we stick with 2 loads to each individual, each whatever, because you're gonna get a lot of issues, a lot of problems, if you leave it open like that.
It's been working since 2016. I mean, I know the problem is we're having now is because there's so many people requesting it and the cost of dirt's went up, and I understand that. I think it'd be better to go back and say 1 load of dirt per address versus than doing this other whole different systematic thing that we're trying to do. Because it's not equally fair to everybody in the county that rents and uses and people. I mean, I got a mother-in-law that's renting a house right now and living on a fixed income, and she needs all the help she can get at times. Well, you pull that away, they're gonna say, call the landlord. Landlord goes, oh, I use my 2 loads of dirt. They need to pay. I'm not saying they would say that, but that's where this is gonna go. And they're gonna be calling the commissioner. Why can I have help out here? My elderly mom or my grandmother can't get dirt.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier for me to say it's not available than saying, oh, we just don't do it that way.
I'd just like to make a couple of points. One, real life situation. A landowner who does not live in Holmes County, but their property is in Holmes County, called the road department and asked to be put on the list for a load of ditch dirt. They were told, what is your address on your driver's license? His address is Santa Rosa Beach. I'm sorry, you do not qualify. You cannot get dirt for your property in Holmes County. That isn't right, in what you're saying. All right. Rental properties, that is a business. Maintaining access to that property is a cost of doing business. If the landowner that's renting doesn't want to pay for the dirt, the obligation then does not fall on the county to provide dirt for that rental property.
For a $300 driveway each property.
Hold on, hold on now. Hold on.
If I chose to have a business of rental, then I choose to accept the responsibility and the cost of maintaining that property. It's not the county's responsibility to maintain my rental property. It's my responsibility because that's my business. And that's all I have to say about that.
Would you like to say?
Good morning. I don't advocate one way or another in regards to the way the policy reads. What I do want to state is that let's consider some geographical locations. If I happen to have 6 rental properties and say 4 of those are in Caryville, the flood zone, surely that yearly need for that dirt, right, is going to be increased beyond the 1 or 2 loads that's being per person. What happens to those ones that are being more washed out, more utilized, et cetera, because they are geographically located in those areas? That's all I wanted to say.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak on this?
Yes, go ahead.
You know, this dirt policy has gotten way complicated. It's one of the worst things ever. As sitting board members, one of our jobs is to protect this county. You're not protecting this county when you take this load of coating grass and you move it across the county. We're killing the county in a hole. If you want to continue with the dirt policy, if you're on the dirt road, dig it up, give it to somebody that lives there. Keep it contained somewhat instead of hauling that mess across the county. If you do haul it away from there, take it to the pit. Let's get up with Callan and try to treat that material before it's leaving. We've got to do something. I'm telling you, we're killing Holmes County in a hole. I don't want to be a part of this dirt policy, and I will not vote nothing for it if it's hauling this dirt across the county. If you dig, somebody right there side of it, give it to them. I got no problem with it. I got no problem with it. Fix their driveway with good dirt. I just don't want to be in the business of spreading coating grass no more throughout this county than what it is.
Yeah, if we got some other issues, so I'm all on fixing somebody's driveway.
Yes, you tell me to do that.
Just helping people, subsidizing people's rental properties, I'm not.
We get it in the farmer, you get it in pine trees, you just everywhere. You can't treat it fast enough. Well, it's time for us as commissioners to wake up and stop that garbage.
Yeah, it's not, if you ain't got enough ditch dirt to supply to do a bunch of this, I mean, you just limit it, but.
You can't improve the operation of the dirt. You can't continue to do this.
If you feel that way, just get rid of the dirt completely all the way together.
Exactly.
That's what, the road you
You ain't got to do away with it completely, but at least keep it contained on a dirt road.
Yeah.
Let somebody rather make it.
What I'm trying to say, it's hard to,
what they get.
it's hard to pick and choose, is what I'm trying to say. How do you be fair and consistent across the board? You know,
You do away with this dirt.
Okay,
Policy stuff. I'm telling you, we got to do something to help this again. We still go fix their driveway. But this deep dirt, honest with y'all, I do not have much deep dirt, and I put it back in the road. I do. I'm just being completely honest with you.
And that's where it should go.
Yeah, we don't got a lot of it. We've been in a drought. So, I mean, we know what it's there for. It's to help you to get a boat. Sure it will, but look what we're doing to the county. We've got to wake up and stop this garbage. I'm telling you. So me personally,
If we're gonna keep it, it needs to be regulated.
it does, it needs to be
Regulated.
contain it to that dirt road you get it on and make sure the people know what they get. Cause most of the people that want this garbage ain't got an idea of what they get.
Yeah, you carry some low dirt out there to a rental property and got some roots and crowd grass or a bunch of plastic bottles under it, they ain't gonna be happy at all. You're gonna be there making it loose.
That's all right. Will you come forward and speak?
Yes, sir. Jordan Salmons, Highway 179. This is kind of a two-parter. The first one is, what is the current process on getting onto the list for the ditch dirt? Do you just call and get your name put on a list?
Call the county road department and it is put on the list. And, that list is given to the road foreman and he usually takes it the way it's called in. But it's only with availability.
But what if you rewrote the policy to, change it instead of a list into an application? That way it can be limited as to what the use is for, especially if there's, things in the dirt that should not be going onto soil or sod, but if they need to use it for a driveway, for drainage, for whatever it is that they're gonna be using it for, and then change it into an application on the county website rather than just a list, and then it'll also provide a little bit more, regulation on it. It's still a free policy and it's still a free service given to the constituents by the county, but it also gives the board a little bit more control over how that dirt is used to
Well,
protect the individuals.
I'm gonna answer that question. Right now, we currently have a waiver on here. This is what it can be for, what it can. When you get into making a free deal by doing application administrative costs, it's no longer free at that point. Under the Attorney General's report, the only way we're giving this dirt away because it's non-value. So we're pulling it out of the ditch and what's supposedly, when I say quote, because I don't know if it's been done, I'm not out there every day, supposed to be taken out of the ditch and when they're in that working area to bring it to their location at that particular time. But since, like I said, the policy was put in place, I think it's got way out, like Mr. Stafford said, it's got way out of control. And, but there is a fine line there and what you put money into administrative costs, hauling and everything versus it's supposed to be a item that's no value.
I understand, is because it is a free service, and this, I guess, is a question for you, Nate. With the Attorney General's opinion on that, are you guys allowed to put stipulations on it? On the policy?
When you say stipulations.
Use stipulations when you call.
Well, it's a no value, it's surplus, so it's really.
No value at all.
Yeah, and so we're trying to really get rid of it versus.
Yeah.
And this is that way.
The Attorney General thing, yeah, it just, it takes, you got to give it to them out there.
Yeah,
that's
You
right.
got to haul it down the road.
You haul it if it comes to that.
Because the,
Monetary value.
yeah, because the Berkeley taxpayers, so. If you can't give it to them right there, we need to do away with it. Yeah.
It's, they do sign this waiver, that, assume that's, they're signing, just acknowledging that this is full conditions, it's good have debris, forms, substances, zero monetary value, 50 feet from county right of way, exact placement is based on the person driving the dump truck.
Yeah, a lot of them people that sign that, got no idea what I'm up there on their property.
But the code.
That's what pitiful it is.
We
They
have,
say it.
so
Thank
now
you so
sure
much
the
for the
commissioners
clarification.
know, we've had to go back and pick those.
Yeah, we just about beat it up too.
That's cost.
I don't want to
That's
see it.
costly, there's a cost
It
factor.
is. So this dirt policy, I'm telling y'all need to really think about it. Let's come back and do away with it. Because I know you'll probably get some heat. But we can still have thick driveways and all these houses. If we've got to stop the coating grass spreading within this county. And that's all we do. As you can see on all our dirt roads.
Mr. Stafford, what would you say, I used to, we got good spray for every class I went to, and we went to some too. It's spread the quickest by dump truck and motivated, correct?
That's right. Bush hogs. Just drink it. You rather than bloom this over. It's coming.
But I think if you were gonna look at, and if you were intending to get rid of it, but still help like Mr. Ellenberg said with driveways and things, I think you would need to go back and look at our existing driveway policy and how much we do on it. And because I think now we're looking at, correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, 10 or 20 feet on the driveway policy.
50 feet.
50 feet. We deliver within 50 feet, but I don't think we maintain within 50, 25 feet. So we only maintain within 25 feet.
Yeah, that's something they do.
That's what I'm saying. So this is what you gotta look at. We need to go back and look at the maintain, how that driveway affects the main county road, it's the driveways on the hill, you know, we've always lived in there and took care of that driveway, but I think all that needs to be addressed in the policy and how well we clean that up, prevent money and, well, I use for county maintained road or anything else like that. If you're gonna do that, I think it kind of.
Way more sense.
Yeah.
The only reason the pitch was put in there, was just called the spread. Sorry, spread, don't just 25.
Yeah, you can't get straight.
Yeah, so that was why that was put in there.
We only maintain up to 25 foot.
That's right.
Yeah.
But when you're spreading that 25 foot of dirt to cover the grader operator, if he spreads it a little bit far, he'll put it 50 foot. So,
And the policy says 10 feet, not 25.
I thought it was 10 foot, so we're only allowed to maintain up to 10 foot off the county dirt road.
Maybe we should go back with observation on each driveway, case by case.
Well, I knew it was 10 foot because we adopted what the state of Florida used, because that's all they use off highway.
You can't get a grader turned around.
No, and that's one, and my girl said that's when we went in there with the 50 foot hauling oil dirt within the 50 foot. So there's a lot of things that need to be looked at if you're gonna revamp this whole thing. If you wanna get, I mean, if the board gets rid of dirt hauling, I think we need to go back and look at that.
Yeah, that's a better drive.
Yeah, because the highway policy is 10 foot, you can't pull a truck around 10 foot.
Mr. Chairman, I got one more. I think too, it's limited in that 50, not going so far even with permission of the landowner, then you're getting into issues where, well, they think they might sell a parcel in the back, now they think it's a county maintained road. And we've just gotten permission just to maintain it, but it's not really county road. We've had that issue here recently with some other private landowners, but it's not on the county maintained map. We might turn the road right around in there just to, I don't know, it's caused a little bit of issues in the past, going too far in some places, and they've seen it as a county road, someone buying property in the back. And now they've got even issues with private landowners.
all right, is this something the board wants to look at or with?
I think we need a workshop on it. That's what you wanna do, because there's a lot more to probably than just in a board meeting.
Yeah. I don't know, you look back and look at the damage the county's done in the past years, and I've been here 65 years and I've seen it. The country guys take over our road. I mean, I think we need to have a workshop, let's do away with it. Let's stop that mess, and then let's do driveway policy. You know, kind of,
We're gonna fix the driveway, we need to put good pit dirt on that.
yeah.
And that's what
You dig that dirt at the ditch, let's take it back to the pit, pile it up, and treat it before it's ever again. So, Gary can help us with a program with that, and maybe we're gonna help. Just, we got, it ain't never too late to start doing an improvement, and I think we need to really do it. And
We're gonna revisit the driveway policy, I think it may need to be case by case, let your foreman go out and observe and see what the issue is, or how far they need to go in to fix the problem. Not put a limitation on just fix the issue. That's one thing, but it is.
Driveway policy, the dirt policy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, you revisit the driveway policy, but it needs to be case by case per driveway.
Do that. But, we get it for the driveway. I got the tables, bring it back to our next week, let's talk about the other way with it.
So you don't table this down both?
Yes.
You
You'll have the next meeting.
Yes, great. Maybe we have to.
All right, I'll be quick. This is, I think the roadway abandonment, I brought it, we thought about bringing it to meet before last, but it just didn't work out, but I've got a map in front of y'all, on Hampton Hall Road. Mr. Larry Williamson had approached him before, but referred him to me. All I'm asking for today is, for the next meeting, if y'all are good with abandoning it, that I present y'all at the public hearing, and publish it in the newspaper, but it's a roadway that touches Mr. Larry Williamson's property, the Barefoot property, and then if you follow north on that section line, it does touch the school board.
Yeah, school like, the iron farm out there. Which, I talked to Mr. Skinner of the egg farm, and I also talked to Mr. I think Barefoot called him. He essentially inherited land from some family. And his wife's family, I believe it was had an intention of creating a subdivision back there many years ago. He was the same gentleman that created the subdivision for Sunny Hills, not Sunny Hills, but, south of Sunny Hills, down there, David. But he was the same, yeah, he's the same gentleman that done that way back in the day. So they inherited the land, and these roads were pretty, these cuts were pretty established roads, and it ain't much, it's actually going through some wetland in there, and he just asked them if they could cut that out so they can make a whole parcel out of that road. I just make a motion to go ahead and do it. Well, I guess we gotta go ahead and make a motion for a public hearing.
Yeah.
don't we? Yeah, make a motion for public hearing.
Have a motion for a public hearing. On the, what's the guy's name? Mr. Williamson, County Hall Road. Yeah, Mr. Williams, County Hall Road, on the road closure. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, motion is second, any discussion? How's the vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Someone.